Hello everybody, my name is Gabe, also known as Martain or Petty7, and today I'm going to go over my custom done Steam controller bindings for the game Intruder by Superboss Games. So first off, we're going to figure out how to access the controller bindings, and furthermore how to access the community controller bindings that you can find for every game on Steam available when you use a Steam controller. So first off, you want to have Steam open on your computer, and you want to make sure your Steam controller dongle is connected to your computer. And I'm going to turn on my controller right now, and you'll notice at the end of this spot right here where I'm circling with my mouse, a new prompt will pop up the moment my controller turns on. So let's do that. And there we go, we have a controller configuration window, and this will pop up a big screen overlay window, which shows my binds. These are the best binds that I've found to use. They are not perfect, and I am certainly open to new suggestions for this, but this is about as good as I could have gotten it with how many controls there are available in this game. I'm going to close this. And one of the biggest gripes I have about the Steam controller is that if you want to use it for games that don't have native controller support, you have to launch the game through big screen. So I'm going to enable big screen right now, and then we will launch the game and go over the controller overlay. And it's as simple as going to hit play and letting that start up. And I don't believe there's anybody online right now, so I'm just going to go through the tutorial area, and that will very easily help me go over this. So right off the bat, we're going to turn down the sound a little bit. So right off the bat, you're going to notice that the right touchpad is assigned to mouse movement, and it's very satisfying, and it's actually trackball with high friction. I found that is the most satisfying to use. Right trigger is left click, and left trigger is right click, and this doesn't make sense when you think about it normally, because it should be left on left, right on right, but it actually... Oh, we'll join that in a little bit. It actually translates quite well, because right trigger is typically the fire button on controller, and left button is typically fire on a mouse, which just makes sense. Okay, so movement is done with the one stick that this controller has, and looking around, of course, is the right touchpad. If you wish to use a door, it is actually a very weird system, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to circle your finger around the outside of the left pad. That acts as a scroll wheel, and you can swing either ways, and you can do that infinitely. I have the sensitivity up pretty high for it, so it does it quite fluidly, which is very nice. For crouch, I have it set to B. For jump, I have it set to A. Pretty simple stuff. My biggest gripe about this is that moving and jumping, or crouching and proning at the same time, come as kind of a difficult process. But those are things that you can remedy with a little bit of tweaking. Okay, so here we can figure out how to access our weapon wheel. So I've tried to do this as best as I can, but it's actually a very difficult thing to do because there are a lot of buttons you can press to hotkey instantly to a weapon, and I wanted to give the same amount of reaction time advantage that using a keyboard does. So if you click in the left trackpad, you will notice that a menu pops up on the screen. Make sure you have controller HUD turned on. You can do that by hitting the Steam button on your Steam controller and going down to toggle controller HUD. So as long as you're clicking and holding that, you have access to this weapon wheel. And this isn't every weapon button in the game, actually. Unfortunately, there is 2, I believe, that are missing. 2 or 3, maybe. But these are... Let me look away. These are 1 through 9 on the top of your keyboard. And the center one, if you just click and release, is R for reload, which is as elegant as I could have made this system. So we're going to select 9 to select our lockpick. And I find lockpicking is actually much easier this way, because it's... Okay, well... Of course, when you're recording, it's going to look bad. X is set to V, which kind of makes it a problem, but showing the control prompts wouldn't really make sense, would it? Y is prone. So I did play with this a little bit, and it's not perfect. It's certainly not a perfect system, and I want to see what people have to tweak this with, but this was about as good as I could have gotten it. What is this code? Oops. 0391. We select this. Perfect. But I am pretty happy with the way this system works. I believe this is where the Ragdoll tutorial is. Yes. So to Ragdoll, you actually click left bumper. And I don't think it's the best solution there. Maybe you could set that to reload, or maybe you can have Ragdoll be one of the options here. But I just wanted to set it quickly, because Ragdoll has variable tactical advantages depending on how you're playing. So it's just one of the easiest keys I could have set it to. Let's take a look at the Gyro Aim. So leaning left and right is actually something I'm very happy with, because there are two extra buttons on the back of the Steam controller, and those are the left and right bumper, and those are the lean buttons. And it's actually a pretty elegant solution. I wish all controllers had these extra back buttons on the back that you access just by squeezing the grips. So you select that, we select 1, which is the default bind for this, and if I hit left, the Steam controller has a 3-stage trigger system, I believe. It has soft pull. No, it's 2-stage. It has soft pull, which when you soft pull on the left trigger with this controller binding, it activates the gyro aim. So you can move the controller slightly, and if you hard pull, which is the click, it is a toggle. So you can aim, and you can stick with that. You can lean around corners and such. Activate this. You can lean around corners and such, and if you want to get that little bit of extra recoil control or gyro aim, you can hold that. And the recoil control is actually quite nice with the Steam controller. You just pull down as you fire, and you'll notice that I fired in basically the same spot. There are better ways to activate the gyro control, and one of my favorite things about the Steam controller is that there is a lot of options for how you want to activate this, whether it's just touching the left pad so the gyro control is always on when you're pressing the look around pad, or soft pulling right trigger or left trigger. There are a lot of options. You just go to controller configuration and you select one of the very many varieties of controls, such as here where the style input is mouse. I can also have a click action, which is my tab, and I can have the soft pull, which activates the gyro, or I can make it to hard pull and set it as a toggle. I have a variety of options when using the Steam controller, and I'm excited to see what people come up with. But let's just very quickly take this out. Oh, like I said, it's not perfect, and of course, human hands shake, and when you pull the trigger, you're going to instinctively pull back a little bit, but I think this is a very elegant solution. And of course it works with every gun the same way. I find it's especially useful for when you're not quite looking at something, and you don't want to have to take your hand off of X to grab something and put it on the touchpad to look around, so you just soft pull the left trigger a little bit and move your controller to get that exact aiming. Very useful. Very not intuitive right away, but I find you do get used to it very quickly. Anyway. I haven't tried the sniper yet, but I don't think I've ever used a sniper in this game at all. But let's find out if I can do this. What button is the sniper bound to? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. It's 2. Prone. It's not perfect. But I'm actually holding hard pull right now because it focuses, and that also keeps the gyro active. So very nice. Is this going to be better than keyboard and mouse? I don't know. I just wanted to try setting this up, and it's worked pretty well so far. So clicking in on the left stick activates sprint, which is a good way to do it because it's the most intuitive way. Is it? Which one is it? There we go. 451. And just remembering what the controls actually are bound to will help you to do this. Because I'm not looking at any on-screen controls right now because they would just confuse me. I'm just going through the tutorial normally because I could always use more practice with this thing. Here. What's the one? Sensor. You can set it, excuse me, you can set it to say what weapon is available on each button. It will say it above it. And I've got that halfway set for my hand signal commands. But this is just such a versatile library that I don't want to throw off anybody that is using this when they have their own custom setup for something like that. So if you'd like to go into the controller bindings, it's actually quite simple to put your own names on things. How do you use this thing? How do you blow up? How do you blow up? There we go, right mouse. Go around. You got this. Lean around and I can look at it. Leaning is so intuitive just by squeezing the controllers. Go. Beautiful. And another. Because why not? Okay. So here's a part that's going to not translate very well. It's actually very difficult to set this up. So mouse 3, which was my default command, I would recommend if you have extra mouse buttons, that's what I use for voice chat. But you can just go in and you can change that, or you can set it to mouse 3, whatever works. But that is the right bumper. Right bumper is my voice chat, and it works pretty well. It's very useful. If I want to equip my radio, I actually click in on the look stick, the right stick, and that brings up, oh, I don't have that bound. Whoops. Well, typically that would be the center command, so you click and you release, and that would bring out your radio right away. But for now, you click, and the move stick, the left stick, the only stick on the entire Steam controller, actually activates your hand signal commands. You have to do it quick because the menu will disappear and it will just switch to your other weapons. But you select any of those and it does the hand signal. Very useful. Yes. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to tweak this a little bit more, and then I'm going to upload it on the Steam Workshop. So to access Steam Workshop controller configurations, you would go to your controller config screen, and on the bottom you'll notice that hitting X allows you to browse configs. And you just scroll down to Community, and there's mine uploaded right there. I'm going to change this around a little bit and make it a little bit better, but if you'd like to download that right now, please feel free to give it an upvote, and I'm going to see if I can actually manage to play a little bit of Intruder with this controller config. Thank you very much for watching.